Sparta Episode 1, Born for War, the Making of a Spartan. In most places, the birth of a baby is a cause for joy, but in ancient Sparta it was a test, a cold calculation of life or death. The moment a Spartan child was born, elders gathered to examine its tiny body. Was it strong, well-formed? If not, the verdict was simple. They would leave the infant on the rocky slopes of Mount Taygetus, exposed to the elements, to die. To us it sounds like monstrous cruelty, but to Spartans, it was a necessity. Their society was surrounded by enemies, vastly outnumbered by slaves. Only the strongest could survive and defend the state. The mother's crucial role. If a child survived this first trial, it still faced a childhood unlike anywhere else in Greece, and at its center was the mother. Unlike Athenian women, who spent most of life hidden indoors, Spartan women were vital to shaping future warriors. They trained their own bodies to be strong, believing healthy mothers bore healthy sons. They taught their children to endure pain, to scorn weakness, to put Sparta above everything. Spartan mothers were famously tough. The historian Plutarch records them handing shields to their sons with the words, "Return with it, or on it." In other words, come back victorious or come back dead, carried on your shield. Sparta's unique family life. Scenes of simple Spartan homes, shared meals. Spartan families weren't built for cozy domestic life. Fathers often lived away in barracks until age 30. Even then, loyalty to Sparta came before family bonds. Men voting in assembly, then cut to boys playing war games. Children were property of the state as much as of their parents. Every home knew that at age 7, boys would be taken to begin the most feared training system in the ancient world. Why such harsh beginnings? Sparta was tiny, a city-state of perhaps 8,000 citizens, but it controlled a vast region filled with conquered people, called helots, who did all the farming. These helots outnumbered Spartans by as much as 7-1. So Sparta lived under constant threat of rebellion. The only way to survive was to be stronger, faster, and more disciplined than any rival. From cradle to grave, every Spartan life served the military. A different kind of childhood. Even before the official training began, Spartan boys lived hard lives. They ran everywhere, often barefoot to toughen their feet, played violent games that mimicked war. Ate simple food, coarse barley bread broth so bad other Greeks joked about it. They also learned from the elders. Storytelling in Sparta wasn't about fairy tales. It was about past battles, heroism, and the disgrace of cowardice. The stigma of cowardice. In Sparta, cowardice was the worst crime. A coward could be forced to stand apart in public, wear ridiculous clothes, even be shunned by women. No Spartan mother would marry her daughter to a man who ran from battle. Better to die young in war than to live long in shame. The mother's last gift. When a boy reached the age for the agoge, the state's brutal military training school, his mother often gave him his first shield. This was more than a weapon, it was a promise. I raised you to protect us all, do not fail. Young boy walking off down a dirt road toward other boys training. From that day on, he belonged more to Sparta than to his family, and his true trials were just beginning. Next time, we'll follow these boys into the agoge, the harshest school ever devised, where they learn to steal, to fight, and to kill, or die trying. Spartan shield fades into darkness, then text, Episode 2, the agoge, coming soon. Tell us in the comments, could you have survived growing up in Sparta? Hit like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you won't miss the next episode of our deep dive into the Spartan world.